Hello everyone, welcome to today's lecture. In this lecture, we will explore the settings and managing of our Kali Linux virtual machine in our VirtualBox. Before we dive into today's topic, let's quickly recap what we have covered so far in previous lectures. So we have explored what virtualization is, how it let us create multiple virtual environments on a single physical machine, and why it is a game changer in fields like ethical hacking and cybersecurity. We have also differentiated between bare metal hypervisor and hosted hypervisor, and I explained each and every concept of those hypervisors and why hosted hypervisor like our VirtualBox are beginner friendly yet very powerful for our use. Even I walked you through downloading and installing our VirtualBox and our virtualization software and operating system. We have also created a virtual machine step by step, configuring all the settings and installing an operating system on it as well and get it running. But today we are going to explore each and every essential setting of our Kali Linux virtual machine, as it necessary to know how our machine is working and what configuration it has, as we have installed a pre-built image, not a installer image where we have to manually configure everything. So let's see what inside our Kali Linux machine is. And as you can see here, I have changed the name of my machine to Kali Linux ETH, so that we don't get confused between our current machine and my older machine. And I will tell you how to change the name of your own machine and name it whatever you want. So let's begin exploring each and every settings of this machine. So let's just imagine your virtual machine as a movie streaming on Netflix. So how do you control it? How do you start a movie in your Netflix? So you just simply either click on the play button or click on the screen. So we have to start a virtual machine, and to start we can just simply click on this machine or we can click on the start button. So we will click on the start button and our virtual machine will start powering up. So as you can see, it is booting up and we have to click enter, and as we click enter, our machine is completely ready. So as you can see, it is asking for login credentials, and as we know, our login credentials was Kali and password was Kali. So we just start our machine, and as you can see, our machine is completely running fine. So now we know how to start our virtual machine. But what if you got a call in the middle of your some important work? What do? So there is an option to pause your machine, just like a movie. So when you click right on the machine and you scroll down a little bit, you see a pause option. So what happens when you click the pause? So when you click the pause, your virtual machine is paused. So whatever the work you are doing in it will be paused, just like a movie. So whenever you will resume it, it will start from where you left. So let's resume it, and to resume we just have to click the pause again, and as you can see, your machine is completely fine and running. Here is one more cool option, which is save state. Think of it as a bookmarking your place. So suppose you are doing something like you're practicing some tools on your terminal. You typed ifconfig and whatever, maybe you are making some directories or practicing some techniques and you want to go somewhere. What should you do right now? You turn it off and lose everything? No, you can't afford that, right? So just click on the cross and you get an option, save the machine state. You can power off it normally, but then you will lose everything. So what happens when you save the state machine? You click on save the machine state, click on OK, and it is saving your virtual machine state. So what will happen? You can pick up exactly where you left off. So now let's restart your machine. We click on the start and it will power up your virtual machine again, and as you can see, it is saying restoring virtual machine, and magic, you are just exactly where you left. So isn't it a cool setting in your virtual machine? So what if you get some glitch in your machine and you are not confident what to do right now? So you just click on the machine and click reset. What will reset do? It will just reboot your machine, just like your Wi-Fi Wi-Fi router or your normal laptop. So we click on the reset, click OK. So you just have to click on the machine and left click on the reset button and click on the reset, and your machine will reboot itself just like your laptop does. Here, as you can see, it is rebooted and it is starting once again. We have already seen how to carefully shut down your virtual machine and save its states, but here are two more options. The last one is forceful shutdown, just like when you pull the plug out from your power supply of your computer, or just click on the power off button in your laptop. And there is a ACPI shutdown. It is a gentle and graceful shutdown. So till now we have explored some very basic settings of our virtual machine, but now I am going to show you something even crazy. So here, as you can see on the second option, you can clone your operating system. And what does cloning mean? Think of it as duplicating a game file. You get an identical virtual machine without even touching your original virtual machine. And why do we clone it? So suppose you ever messed up in your life so badly you wish you had a rewind button. Guess what? Your life don't have a rewind button, but your virtual machine does. So when you are thinking that you are going to experiment some malicious code or some software on your machine that can potentially break your original setup, so what do? So you just click on the clone. It will ask for path, you click on the finish, and it will start copying your machine. So whatever the original setup you have in your machine, whatever the files, whatever you have saved in your current machine, it get cloned as it is, and you can test any malicious code or any software that you want to, and that can potentially break your system. You can test it on your clone machine and it won't even leave a scratch on your original setup. How cool is that? Right? So as you can see here, we got our Kali Linux ETH clone. Wow, isn't it so cool? We got complete clone of our own machine without even leaving a scratch on our original machine. We have some another cool stuff in our machine as well. So when we click on this dialog box, we get some more settings in this, and in the second one we get a snapshot. What is a snapshot? A snapshot is like taking a selfie of your virtual machine's current state. So if things start going south, you can literally rewind to the exact moment where things started getting bad. Let me show you with an example. So let's just start our machine. So we are in our machine right now, and suppose you installed some malicious software that is going to break your system, or maybe you are testing some malicious code that will probably break your system, and you basically know it that whatever the malicious code you are going to experiment right now can potentially break your system. So what do? Just minimize this and we go to the download box, click on the snapshot, and we take a selfie, and we can name it as, maybe you can name it as before risking it, and we click on save, and as you can see, it is taking a snapshot here, and magic, we have a snapshot of our current machine where it is saying before risking it. So let's just do some stuff. Let's create a folder here. We created it, and suppose this folder is a malicious folder that gonna break your system, but you have already took a snapshot of your system before installing this folder or experimenting this folder with a malicious code. What can you do right now? You just minimize it, click on the before risking it, do a right click, and suppose you broke your system. So what can you do right now? Suppose this folder is breaking your system right now. What can you do right now? Click on the close button, go to the power of the machine and click on the restore current snapshot and click on OK. You go to the snapshot, click on the restore button, and then you click on your machine. Your machine will power start again, and the machine is saying restoring virtual machine, and as you can see, that malicious folder that we have created is completely gone. So we are just right where we left. So we got the control back where we lost. Isn't it cool? So let's power off our system right now, and let's see what are some other settings. These settings were like some basic and trick settings, but now we are going to explore some more advanced settings. So we just click on the settings button here, or we can press Ctrl+S. We open settings and we have two interfaces. First is basic and second is expert. So I'm going to click on the expert one. You can do it from the basic as well. So here you can see we can change our name from right here. So I have named this machine Kali Linux ETH before, and now I'm going to name it as VulnTech machine. And now we have our type, we have our subtype. It is a Linux distribution and based on Debian. And as we scroll down to the systems, we get something more cool stuff. It is allocated with base memory of 2 GB or 2048 MB. We can increase it as well to 4 GB or whatever. But remember one thing, never cross this red line, because if you cross this red line you will start messing up. So I think 2 GB RAM is much more sufficient and enough for our virtual machine, so I will leave it as it is. Then we have some more settings, like we have processor core. It is allocated with 2 cores. We can increase it as well, but I will leave on 2 cores. And same here, don't cross this line and leave it on the default settings. So as we explore more settings, we have display settings here, and it is allocated with 128 MB of video memory, and we ain't going to change anything from here as well. Then we have our default storage settings. It is allocated with default storage space without even partitioning, and it is much easier to use as well. Then we have audio settings. Then we have the most important setting of this virtual machine, that is network setting. So as you can see, in my older version I have bridged adapter here, but in my newer version of Kali Linux I am attached to NAT. So what is NAT? NAT is a network adapter setting where our Kali Linux machine has its own network. It is not connected to our home network or home Wi-Fi, but it is connected to internet, but it does not have access to our home network. So guess what? If a hacker hacks to my laptop, it won't get any access to my Kali Linux virtual machine because it is not connected to my home network. Or if some hacker hacks my Kali Linux virtual machine, it will not get any access to my home network or device connected to my home Wi-Fi. But it is also not suitable for our hacking practices, because NAT is like our phone's personal hotspot. It is limited and we can't talk to other devices as well. But if we change it to bridged adapter, which you have to do as well if you want to go as it is. I explained everything in this course, and if you want to practice same ethical hacking practices as I have done in this course, so you have to change to bridged adapter. And what will bridged adapter do? So it lets your virtual machine talk to other devices on the same network, and it is perfectly realistic for penetration testing. It's like being a part of hackers team chat. It will let us scan our home network and device connected to it. So suppose you are in some coffee shop and you are connected to a network of that coffee shop and you are scanning that network. It has multiple devices connected to that network in that Nmap scan, and you can identify vulnerabilities on those networks as well. That's why we say don't connect to any public network, because if any hacker was connected to that network, it can hack your device as well. So we have to connect to bridged adapter to scan our networks. Then we have some general settings like serial ports, USB and shared folders. So in the shared folders, I suggest you leave it as it is, because if you share folder with your host machine, it can potentially lead to break your system as well. Because if you download some malware or random access trojan and it got access to your host machine, it will create some trouble, and the isolation part of virtualization will break as well. So for the maximum security, don't share your folders with your host machine. And as you can see, it is saying share folders none. So we ain't sharing any folders with our host machine as well. And you can change some user interface settings here, but I'm going to leave as it is. And here are something in the general settings. So if we go to advanced settings of general, we can see shared clipboard and drag and drop, and it is bidirectional. Means you can copy any image or copy any text from your host machine and paste it on your virtual machine, and do vice versa. You can disable it as well for maximum security. security, but if you want, you can keep it to bi-directional or host to guest or guest to host only. I'm keeping it bi-directional as we going to need it as well. So we have configured some settings according to us, and I'm going to click OK. And as you can see, we have configured our Kali Linux virtual machine as well, and we have explored each and every settings of our virtual machine and Kali Linux. And the conclusion of this lecture is running a virtual machine is like managing a tiny universe inside your own computer. With power controls, snapshots, cloning, network configuration, you can literally create a secure playground for your ethical hacking needs. And remember, always use a bridged adapter for hacking simulation. It's your direct line to your actions.